Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of the Manifesting Muslim Ramadan series, Aligning with Allah. In today's episode, we're going to talk about why what you want isn't always what you need, and the art of surrendering and having faith and trusting in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here's the thing. Desire isn't wrong. You desiring something in this world is not wrong. It's not bad. It's not making you greedy. It doesn't make you ungrateful for what you have. None of those things. It is perfectly safe for you to desire what it is you want, even if it isn't necessarily something that, is needed for your very survival, or if you already have something similar but you want something bigger and better, if it just is a sort of for your own pleasure, and it's not necessarily going to make you a better person or, help the people around you. It's perfectly safe for you to want and to desire pretty much anything that isn't going to hurt other people. Let me put it that way, because I feel like I need to give that little caveat of like, hey, as long as it doesn't hurt other people and it's not harmful to you and stuff like that, right? But just because we desire something doesn't always mean that it is what Allah wants for us. And it can be very difficult sometimes to distinguish between a desire that is from dunya, so very dunya focused, that our ego, societal standards, influences from family, friends, social media, whatever has placed within us, and then a desire that is sort of placed within us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because those two things cannot really be put on the same place. But if we focus on sort of very dunya leveled desires in the sense of what Allah isn't necessarily putting within us to desire, that is coming from other influences and so on, those are the kinds of desires that we're talking about today. And just so we can make it very clear, something that Allah wants to give you could be a desire to sort of work-wise, career-wise, because Allah sees that as your purpose in this dunya. Obviously, number one purpose, as I've always said, is to serve Allah, to submit to His will. And second purpose is what we're supposed to do with our time in this dunya. And Allah can put all kinds of desires within us. He can put the desire to want to be a mother, to want to be a CEO, to want to travel the world, to want to, whatever it might be. And those kinds of things is like where Allah will drive us to a specific purpose that He has given us in this dunya. And sometimes it's not even about like purpose as such. Sometimes it's just because we might have a momentary purpose, if so to speak, because we're meant to do something that's going to lead us to somewhere else, or so we can meet someone, or we can help somebody else get on to that next chapter that they're meant to go on. And then there is the other desire, where the one that we're focusing on today, of like things that we kind of just want for the sake of wanting it and because it would be nice and things like that. Now, I'm not going to go into how to differentiate between the two today, because that's not what we're here about. But what we are going to talk about is why the things that, it could be fun to have, but is not necessarily, given to us by God to want to desire those things, isn't always necessarily something that we're going to get. So there's nothing wrong still with wanting it, but there has to be a very, very grand level of surrender with those things, because Allah might see something in those things that we cannot see for ourselves. So you should always ask Allah for whatever it is that you want. You should always come to Allah and feel safe enough to come to Allah and say, I would like a pair of So Kate Louboutins, or I want the mini Kelly Hermes bag. I think the Kelly's an Hermes, isn't it? I don't know. The point is that you can come to Allah with these things and say, hey, like this has nothing to do with like my greater purpose or something, but I think it's a cute bag and I really want it, or whatever. Like you're allowed to do those things. Of course you are. But Allah might see beyond the desire of you wanting it and see something that is not going to benefit you from getting that bag. Perhaps it is that, you get the bag and later down the line, if you get the bag, you'll get robbed And it's going to be quite a horrific time for you, because somebody is like, oh, I like that bag too, but I'm not going to work for it, so I'm going to steal it. And in the process of being robbed, you might get hurt, you're going to get some trauma, whatever. And so Allah's like, you know what? I'm not going to give you that bag because I'm going to try and safeguard you from that horrible experience. It could be something completely different, that it starts off like mentally like a ego boost, but like in a wrong way. That now perhaps you're thinking a little bit too highly of yourself, or that you think you're better than others, or maybe not even something like that, but now that it's like almost like an addiction, that like now you can't enjoy some of the cheaper things, cheaper bags and stuff, so you're looking down on it, and now it's like a status thing for you, so you have to have more, and you are putting yourself out financially to try and attain more of those kinds of things. It could be anything. Now I'm just riffing, it could be anything. It could be something perhaps not even that serious, but still something that Allah just wants you to avoid. Maybe it's just that, getting that bag is just going to set you back financially in a way that's quite uncomfortable for you or your family, and He just doesn't want to do that for you, And sometimes when we desire something, it's not that it's wrong of us to desire it, but it is that sometimes Allah sees more for us than what we see for ourselves. And so when we're coming to Allah with these du'as, it's very important for us to understand Allah in that moment. And the more of a relationship we have with Allah, the easier it becomes for us to trust His decisions. The easier it becomes for us to surrender it back to Him, so that now I'm not coming to Allah saying, give me that mini Kelly Birkin bag. Is it Birkin or oh my God, you know what? They're all called something different. You know the ones I'm talking about. Any one of those $250,000 bags, essentially, like the ones where you can basically buy like several houses, many places around the world, and in return you get like a piece of leather with a clasp on it. So you can say, yeah, I want this thing, and then at the same time know and trust that when you make that dua, if it's not going to come, you're not going to hold that against Allah. Because this is what a lot of us do. I think we've kind of gone through that a lot of times already in this series, of like how it can build resentment when we're making a dua and we're not understanding Allah. We don't have that relationship with Allah. And so if we're not receiving the dua the way that we think it's supposed to come to us, then we start feeling resentful. We start being like, but Allah promises us the answer. Allah promises that He's going to, every dua will be answered, and that He's going to give us, and all of these things, and I'm doing, and I'm praying, and I'm making dhikr, so why shouldn't I get da 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 da? And now all of a sudden we've got this resentment because we've asked for this Birkin bag and we're not getting it, right? We don't want that. We definitely don't want that. So what we want to do instead is feel safe enough to come to Allah with these desires and say, wow, you know what? I think this bag is really beautiful. But, and I think I could save up, the 250K, whatever. And if you can do that, sis, hey, hi. Do you want to send a tip my way? Should I set up a Patreon just for you? Let me know. So you can have this. It's safe enough to come to Allah and have this conversation and be like, listen, I know it's not like, me coming here asking for world peace and whatever, but this is what I really want. But then at the same time, be trusting enough to know that Allah knows beyond what you know. His wisdom sees so much further than what you perceive your wisdom to know, if any of us really truly are wise in this dunya at the very least. So it's about trusting Allah's knowledge over our desires, trusting that He knows better than what we think we know for ourselves. Even if, yes, that thing might have momentarily made you happy, trusting that Allah's decision is going to overall make you much, much more happier in the long run. And so we're not going to come to Allah with our desires with a sense of entitlement. We're not going to come with a sense of arrogance of like, I have now made the dua, so Allah has to deliver. We're coming from a sense of, I want this or something better. And here's the thing about the or something better, is and this is just like sometimes how I phrase it, I want this or something better. The something better is your, and when I say your, I'm talking about Allah right now, your infinite knowledge and guidance, your infinite wisdom, the thing that you know will be better for me. So when I say or something better, it's beyond my personal knowledge and capabilities to understand my world, this world, myself, the desires, the future, so on and so forth. So I will come into the door, for instance, and say, I really like this Birkin bag. I don't want a Birkin bag. I really want this Birkin bag. I really don't want a Birkin bag. I want a Birkin bag, ya Allah. And whatever. But I want the Birkin bag or something better. So Allah might be like, you know what, Zara, I don't want to give you a Birkin bag, but I want to give you this bag, and it's made ethically, it's sourced from ethically produced leather, and it's from a small business, and they could really use your money more than the other company, and whatever, like, and you're going to get much more use out of it, and you're going to love it more, and it's going to suit your personal style, and it's not going to get to your head or whatever it might be. And so when I say something better, or if it's in your will for me to have it, or if you feel like it's good for me or whatever, like however I want to word it in on that day, it is basically me saying, but I trust your infinite guidance and wisdom far beyond what I trust my desires, because I know my desires are going to come and go. Once upon a time, I wanted buffalo shoes. Does anybody here remember buffalo shoes? I don't know how old you guys are. But here in my nearly 40 years, I am definitely remembering back on the buffalo shoes, and oh my goodness, how I wanted buffalo shoes. I couldn't imagine anything worse right now than to have a pair of buffalo shoes. But my desires change. My desires are seasonal. Many times are seasonal. So I don't necessarily trust them. I will trust Allah's infinite wisdom before I trust my own desires, even if that desire is very strong for a moment. And they come and they go. But even in those moments, and sometimes I will ask Allah for it because it's safe for me to do so, and it's not wrong for me to do so. But at the end of the day, my relationship with Allah far surpasses anything that I may feel that I want or need in this dunya. Because it will, if Allah deems something to be better for me, then I will trust that before I trust myself. In fact, I trust myself now, but like I've the majority of my life, I haven't trusted myself, so why should I trust myself with my desires? Because I know my desires can lie to me sometimes. I know that my knowledge can lie to me sometimes. So I will trust Allah before I trust my desires. But you can desire, you can ask, it's perfectly safe for you, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Allah wants you to have it, that He wants you to attain it in this dunya. And so it's very important to have that relationship with Allah where it's safe for you to ask for it, but it's still so safe for you in the sense that you're like, but if I don't get it, we're still good. Like, I'm not going to hold it against you. It's perfectly fine because I trust that what you see for me far surpasses what I see for myself. All right, my dear. Okay, love, that is what I have for you today. I will see you, inshallah, in tomorrow's episode. But until then, my darling friend, please don't forget to live in love.